Miramax just broke the internet yesterday when Bloody Disgusting revealed the fact that they are open to business to new projects with leasing out the rights to Halloween. And if you want to hear my thoughts on how this breaks down for an actual video game, click on the link above. Otherwise, just subscribe to this channel and click on the notification bell for all live action horror related videos. And we're going to break down what is going on now with, of course, the wonderful world of Halloween. And if you're a Halloween fan, this had to get you fully excited. I'm going to include a link in the description below to the Bloody Disgusting article, so you can just hop over there and read all the details on that. But let's be honest, this isn't the first time that Miramax has had the leasing rights open, as of course we know that they lent them a few years ago to Blumhouse, so that way they could make the David Gordon Green trilogy. But let's break down how this could possibly play in. The first possibility is they do a live action series. Now, this would most likely be leased, of course, by a streaming company like Peacock did with getting in contact with Miller for Crystal Lake. Now, Crystal Lake was supposed to drop this October, but due to some production delays and then, of course, the writers and actors strike, it's not going to probably get out till either late summer next year or maybe even not till Halloween. But it's going to be something very similar to that. A company like, say, maybe Apple TV would be very interested. Paramount Plus would be a perfect choice. They've done very similar things with releasing rights from Stephen King. Although that adaptation of The Stand was absolute donkey shit, they did seem to have that. Netflix is always a possibility. Netflix has been doing good stuff with horror, of course, with Stranger Things, and they've done some really good movie anthologies, so they might be a possibility. I don't see Peacock being in play due to the fact that they have already gotten in bed with the Friday the 13th franchise, and maybe Max, but Max seems to be pulling back on what Warner Brothers is willing to spend on, and that is definitely the first possibility could go through. Or we get some new movies. Now, before we can think about how this would play into it, we have to look at the actual movie franchise. Now, when it comes to movies, we have 4 different timelines, and that's not even if you include what is the masterpiece, in my opinion, of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which in some cases, some people just have it in all timelines, some people have it in none of the timelines, but we're just going to call it a standalone movie. Anthology timeline is what they listed it as here, but Season of the Witch we're just not even going to acknowledge here. So we're only going to talk about how Halloween right now exists with Michael Myers, and right now there's still the 4 timelines, and 3 of those timelines span out, of course, 1978 Carpenter film, and then timeline 1 and 2 are going to spin out of Halloween 2, the second Carpenter film, where we found out, of course, Michael and Laurie are siblings, and we branch left where we're going to have the what's called the Thorn timeline, which is 4, 5, and 6. Or we branch right, which is the H2O timeline, which is H2O and Resurrection, which of course includes the weird death scene when Michael finally kills Laurie and stabs her and she kisses him, which literally no one has ever asked for that scene, or no one really likes that scene. If you do like that scene, tell me in the comments, because I don't think anyone actually likes that scene from Halloween Resurrection. I personally found H2O and Resurrection to both be pretty much terrible films, and try to pretend that that timeline doesn't exist, but it does. And then, of course, we also have the Blumhouse timeline, which is David Gordon Green and Danny McBride's version, where Halloween 2 never happened. So Michael and Laurie are not siblings. Laurie just goes back to being a wonderful babysitter who fought Michael like she did in 78, and now has become a prepper preparing for when Michael returns. And then, of course, you get Halloween 2018, which is now replacing Halloween 2, and then Kills and Ends, and there's the Laurie timeline. So that's the original 3 timelines. You also have, of course, the zombie timeline, which has Halloween 2007 and then Halloween 2 2009. Are you confused yet? Hopefully you're not, but basically this leads to a couple possibilities. Blumhouse is out. They've told their story. They're not doing anything more. Now, of course, Atkins has said many times, especially since 2022, that there was project set up for a Halloween 3D or Halloween 3 in the Zombieverse. Could Zombie come back and do a 3rd film? Probably not. I just kind of feel like he's moved on. I don't see Rob Zombie returning to do a 3rd film, although it would conclude his trilogy, but I'm not a fan of either 2. They're both very slow. They're not my cup of tea. But if you're a Zombie fan, there's still hope that he could come back and do one more. Now, my guess is we're probably going to see a full reboot with at least 3 movies from a company, maybe even up to 5. And we've already established the fact that they don't want to leave the shape as Michael. They've had 2 opportunities to do it, whether it was Blumhouse's Halloween Ends, where they had an opportunity to leave Michael and they chose not to. They concluded Michael's storyline and the shape kind of died with him. Or if when it was Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, when they wanted to go anthology and move the shape around and just basically talk about the evil that could exist. And they immediately ran back to Michael for the Thorns timeline, which was Halloween 4, 5, and 6. So my guess is whatever we're going to get would be a company coming in that wants to do a brand new Michael story. And they'll probably reboot him again and create a 5th timeline, which is the most likely. Although I want to hear your thoughts. Do we see maybe a live action series which explores an early Michael and Laurie? Although, let's be honest, who wants to see a recast of Jamie Lee Curtis playing Laurie Strode? Like, obviously, I'd love to see someone else's interpretation, but she's played the character so many times, it's almost so ingrained to just think of Laurie Strode as Jamie Lee Curtis. And it doesn't matter if you think of young Jamie Lee, middle-aged Jamie Lee, older Jamie Lee, she's just got a stranglehold on this. So maybe at that point a TV series would actually give us a chance to look at what the shape could be in anthology form, but who knows? I want to hear your thoughts. Put them in the comments below. What do you think is next in store? Is it an anthology TV series? Is it a reboot TV series? Is it, of course, a brand new franchise of films? There's so much now that's at play due to the fact that Miramax has put it up. As always, thanks for watching and you stay groovy.